they need 2 au pairs. And so what they will say is like, okay, we have 2 au pairs in the house. They try to get sisters or friends like that, and then what they'll say is that you guys get to choose your schedule, or you guys get to make up your schedule. And so what they will do is like, let's say the one au-pair has the whole day. Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about the different schedules you can get as an au-pair. This video is particularly for people who are coming into the program and want to know, this is my disclaimer before I mumble my word, you can't really choose your schedule. Obviously it's according to the type of schedule your host family gives you. Now you can say, hey, like, is it okay if I do this and not that? Is it okay if I do this? Whatever. But majority, or like 100% of the schedules host families set, and beforehand always ask them, like when you have your interview, say like, hey, what would be a typical week for me? And then they explain it to you, and then you know, and therefore you can decide from there if you want to stay with the family or not. So I'm calling this video a typical au-pair schedule, or different kinds of au-pair schedules. I will see when I get to the description. I have my phone because I do not want to forget some of the important things. I wrote some down because some of them are my schedule, friend schedules I've had from previous families. So I just don't want to forget once I start talking to you guys. Number one is the basic schedule. This is the basic au-pair schedule, where you start either from 9 to 6 or 8 to 5. Basically, these people have babies most of the time, or you have kids that don't go to school. So you're basically on the clock from, like, literally it's like a 9 to 5. You're basically on the clock either 9 a.m. to 6 or like 8 to 5 or 8 to 3, however, what time they need you. But that's like this basic, and I would say mainly people who have babies or kids at home use this kind of schedule. Number two is the school kid, and I have a school kid. So when all your kids, or like, yeah, when all your kids are at school, what happens is you get up in the morning and you have my whole dad's making a noise. So with the school kid, what happens basically is that you get up in the morning and you work for a few hours depending on how many kids you have. You get them ready, you drop them off at school, or you drop them off at the bus stop, and then you have the day off, and then they get home whatever time. Some kids get home at 3, some get 3:30, 4, and then when they get home again, or when you pick them up from school again, you take over, and you either take them to activities, you do dinner with them until the parents take over. So that's a school kid. With a school kid, it's like, it's nice to have like that break in between. So I like it because it's like you work with them in the morning, you have a break when they're at school, and then you pick up later with them, whether it's like taking them to activities, helping with homework, feeding them dinner, that kind of stuff. And this, like, the school kid is majority of the au-pair programs, because a lot of parents that's like when they really need you, because either they leave for work early and so they need somebody to get the kids ready and put them on the bus or drive them to school, and then after school for all those activities, that's when they also need you a lot. The third thing is like a hybrid kid. So for people like this, it's like a hybrid schedule, I mean. So for people like this, it's like you have two sets of kids. You have some kids that go to school and some kids that are here. So what happens is it's still like a 9 to 5. It's just that you take maybe 2 of them to the bus stop, and then you come home with the one who doesn't go to school, or you have all 3 of them go to the bus stop in the morning, and then the one comes home at 1 o'clock, and then the one that comes home at 1 o'clock maybe only goes to school on Monday and a Wednesday, for example. So let's say there's 3 kids in the household. The other 2 go to school every day, but the little one is 3 years old and she only goes to school twice a week. So like on Monday and Wednesday, you take her to school and she comes back at 12 o'clock. So from like 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock you free, but on Tuesday, Thursday and Friday she's at home. I don't know if it makes sense. So there'll always be like that one kid, and mainly with younger kids this used to happen, because I had this schedule with one of my host families where the sister went to school every single day, and so I would take her to school at 8:30. she'd be at school, and then on Monday and Wednesday he went to school, and then I would take both of them to school. Well, she goes to school all the time, but I would take both of them to school when he's going to school, and then I'd be off like when he's at school, obviously. But then on Tuesday, Thursday and Friday I had him with me. He didn't go to school. So it was stuff like that where it's like some days I would have a longer break, and other days it'll be straight up like a 9 to 6. Number four is like the special au-pair schedule. And there's a lot under the special au-pair schedule. So this is for families that have special schedules, special jobs that just require a bit more that nannies can't do or schools can't do. So like one family that when I was talking to when I was coming here with this host family and that host family, that host family wanted an au pair, but they only wanted an au pair from 5:30 until 11 p.m. They had like the kids were at school and then they had a nanny that would come after school and pick them up and do stuff. So they needed an au pair just for from 5:30 p.m. until 11 p.m. So they wanted someone who's gonna feed them dinner, who's gonna bath them for the night, who's gonna put them to bed, that kind of stuff. Otherwise for the rest of the day they were sorted. And so that's a special schedule, because every day I would only start work at 5 p.m. and I'd end at 11 p.m. And then other families, there's some families that want au pairs who literally like you work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So what that means is that like this week, this is mainly families who have divorced, so like the dad lives here, the mom lives here, where it's like you have an au pair with you staying in your house, or the au pair is both your au pairs. So some families will say, okay, the mom gets an au pair. Let's say the mom gets an au pair, and so when the kids are with the mom, you look after the kids, and then the following week the kids go to their dad, and so you off that following week, you still getting paid. And then the third week the kids come back, you have the kids, and then when the fourth week hits, they go to their dad, you don't have the kids. That's a special okay, I mean a special schedule. But then there's some weeks or like some host families where the mom and the dad come together and they're like, yes, we divorced, whatever, but we still want to have one au pair instead of having two separate au pairs. And so what happens is when the kids stay by the mom, you have to stay by the mom. When they stay by the dad, you have to go with them to the dad. So you have to pack a bag and you have to stay. So you have a room by the dad and you have a room by the mom also. So when the kids are on by the dad's side, you also have to be on. I actually know an au pair who did that, where 1 week she would stay here with the mom and the kids, and then the following week they would go to the dad's house. And so the kids would go to school, whatever, and when the kids are at school on like a Friday or Saturday, they would all pack their stuff. She'd pack their stuff and they would go to the dad. And so she would do her weekends, but like on Monday she has to be by the dad because she's working from the dad's house. That's a special schedule. There's also some households that have two au pairs. So like I know if like let's say the parents do very demanding jobs, and this is mainly like people who work in hospitality. So like if the parents work in a high-end hotel, or like stuff where on the weekend especially, or like at night, that's when they're booming and they make money, they need two au pairs. And so what they will say is like, okay, we have two au pairs in the house. They try to get sisters or friends like that, and then what they'll say is that you guys get to choose your schedule, or you guys get to make up your schedule. And so what they will do is like, let's say the one au pair has the whole day, the other au pair will look after the kids the whole night. And so that's how it is, where they need like the 45 hours is not enough for them, hence why they got two au pairs, because one can look after the kids during the day, one can look after the kids during the night. Another one is also like, and I recently got this question, and I don't know this person personally, but on a group they suggested that this is their schedule. They travel with their host family. And what I mean with this is like the dad and the mom have jobs where they have to travel every now and again. And so they have to travel with the kids and the host family to do work. So it's like you're still doing your au pair work, it's just that you're doing it in a different state or a different country. They even get an au pair that's from the same country, because they just know that they do business in there, so it's easy for us to go in and out. And so yeah, I think that is it. Let me check my notes. Okay, I think that is it. If you are an au pair and you've either heard on groups, or you've heard in real life, or even if it's your schedule, comment below and like explain to future au pairs like what are the crazy schedules, or not even just crazy, like what are the other options that are out there in terms of schedules. And so to the future au pairs, I hope you found a schedule that would work for you. Also, what I want to say is don't be like afraid to ask more in detail about a schedule, because your schedule could make or break your match. Because if you hate your schedule, or you feel like it's just not working for you, you may not like the whole job, you may not like the whole experience. Because let's say they give you a schedule where you live in a place where you want to experience stuff, and they give you a schedule where, and this family where they wanted me to work from 5 to 11 p.m. that's one of the reasons why I didn't take them, is because I was like, it's okay for the first year, it's okay while I'm here in South Africa. I'll be like, yeah, sure, I can do it. But I was like, what happens when I have friends and I want to go on a Friday night to dinner with my friends, or I want to go on a Wednesday night to dinner with my friends, or I want to do something. And I found most au pairs, like when I just thought about it, I was like, most au pairs end that time. Like during the day is fine, but most au pairs end around 6 or 7, so I want to go out with them. And so that's why I was like, I don't know if I want to do something that's like limiting like that, because I don't mind doing it during the day, but like 5 to 11 p.m. every day, Monday. But yeah, that is it for this video. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.